Hi, Christopher. Hit it.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Everybody good? It's
We're
Tuesday?
good. Yeah, man. We're
Mike,
good.
great to see you. We missed you in Kansas City. Not really.
I know. I wanted the food.
The 49ers should be number one in everyone's power rankings this week.
Okay. That's an overreaction, especially since I know how I'm going to do my power rankings tomorrow. So, come on, man. What recency bias?
What do you mean, man?
Bias?
You know what I saw last night? The best team in the National Football League. Ooh. They took the team that everyone thought, oh, the Jets are going to the Super Bowl.
Everyone thought that?
And they made them look stupid.
Who thought that?
With a backup running back who'd never really played before.
Excuse me.
Come on, guys.
As you know, I came on the
league.
show today and gave the 49ers all the flowers that they deserve, and there's many of them to spread around. Offense, defense, special teams.
The Chiefs won by a toenail.
Offense, defense, special teams. I understand you, certainly in segments like this, Overreaction Monday is all about what the people are saying. Yeah. It's all about what fans are saying. It's about what our friends in media are saying, yes, and how one specific game can cause a knee-jerk overreaction. And some people in the media put the jerk in knee-jerk. That's not us. However, Chris, the 49ers did what they did last night against a team that has a lot of hype around it. The Chiefs did what they did on Thursday night, despite winning by a toenail or not, against the team that hosted them in last year's AFC Championship game after having the best record in the American Football Conference, fielding the defending most valuable player of the National Football League. Come on. Two things are not, one thing is not like the other, as the children's theme would go.
Hall of Fame quarterback,
True.
two fantasy players, first-round players on their team, a supposed top-5 defense. And they made them look like a junior high team.
Which, by the way, you got to beat the team that's in front of you and do what you need to do to win. And if you can beat them up in the process and show their heartbeat, show them their beating hearts in your hand while ripping it out of their chest and show it to you pumping, all the better.
Here, Coach.
That said, at this point in time, the Ravens are last year's number 1 seed. The Jets were last year's number 10 overall on the clock team. What else, Chris?
Yeah, I don't know.
What else? The Niners are great, but I mean, normally I don't give you a preview of my power rankings, but this just in.
Got to overreact.
Come on.
To the other team that played on Monday Night Football. TJ, I could have went in many directions here.
This guy.
At least 30 directions.
I thought about saying Rodgers should have just retired. But Rich, the Jets...
Get out of here. He wasn't... Come on.
The Jets aren't going to win as many games as they did last year.
They won 7 last year.
They're not winning that many.
I'll call that an overreaction.
I didn't see many wins from that team.
Let me say something to you. The best positive to come out of last night's game wasn't that one drive where Garrett Wilson looked like the number 1 receiver in the National Football League and Aaron Rodgers looked like the multiple MVP that he is.
That was a good 7 minutes.
It was great. It was awesome.
Yeah.
Right? And that's what the Jets offense can do. And hopefully for them, more consistently. Correct? So, but the best thing for the Jets is Aaron Rodgers was healthy. He had a post-game press conference standing there as a healthy man. Dude.
Where is Aaron right now?
Not heading west to visit Dr. Neil Elatrosh's operating room. That's what things were like at this point 1 year from Thursday. That's the anniversary of the day after. And there is no day after. The day after is you're 0-1. Let's try it again against Tennessee. No. What else, Chris?
Good luck.
You don't mean it. That's not an overreaction
hey, you're looking
either.
up at us in the standings, which I didn't think
would happen
all year.
That's a true story.
Hey, I don't think we're talking enough about these two players, two running backs who went to different homes, who had fantastic week ones. Either Joe Mixon or Saquon Barkley going to lead the NFL in rushing this year.
I don't think that's an overreaction.
I hope not.
Well, McCaffrey missed one game already. Derrick Henry, didn't light it up in week 1. These guys have a nice head start on them. Obviously, they're not going to do this every week. But I wouldn't be surprised if one of these guys went wire to wire. Who else could there be?
I mean, I hope so because they're on my fantasy team, which beat you this week,
That's
as
correct.
you know. So.
I know that. I know that was tough for me. And by the way, I only lost by 2 points despite that double dip.
If we were playing horseshoes or hand grenades, that almost would matter.
I am aware of that.
7 guys had 100 yards this week.
Who else?
Kenneth Walker, Ramondre Stevenson. J.K. Dobbins, obviously Jordan Mason on Monday night, and Lamar Jackson. Had 120.
So out of those guys, Kenneth Walker didn't finish the game.
Did not.
Right, and we're going to see how healthy he is moving
but
forward.
He did a post-game press conference, so I imagine he's
Another
okay.
one was a quarterback, although great but Lamar's not going to lead the league in rushing. Right? I think Mason's not going to play. You already heard there's not going to be a two-tier system. There's not going to be a 2 running back situation in San Francisco.
And Aaron Jones and David Montgomery each had over 90 yards.
Yeah, they might make a nice run, but I'm not going to push back on this one. I don't think this is an overreaction.
Joe Mixon
to say
was
that.
Really impressive.
He sure as hell was.
He looked so good.
By the way, if you're focusing on Stephon Diggs and Nico Collins and Tank Dell and Dalton Schultz and C.J. Stroud, and then you turn around and hand to this guy,
buddy,
he might have some room.
Yeah.
He might have some light boxes, as they say.
Oh. Is that the 2024 phrase that pays?
I don't know.
Boxes.
I don't know.
All right. How about this one, guys? We talked a little bit yesterday, Rich, about the New York Football Giants.
Yes, sir.
Yesterday on Overreaction Monday podcast, I said we're already on Drew Lock watch.
I agreed with you.
We're also on Bill Belichick watch for 2025 for the New York Giants.
Dude.
I mean...
Dude,
we're already
Rich,
time.
Rich, before you answer, I just want to point out that CM Punk proved this year that you can go back home again. So
I can't sit here and just 1 week in is we're on Belichick watch in New York. That's,
already.
That's much.
He's got rings.
That's
there,
a lot.
Rich.
That's a lot. I will say this in advance of Wednesday's What the Football with Susie Schuster and Amy Trask. I did email Amy last night. I try not to influence subject matters, but I'm kind of
put your thumb on the scale too.
On occasion. I mean, it's the Rich Eisen Podcast Network. I said, hey, when the co-owner of the team is caught on the Hard Knocks camera, saying, "I will delegate to you what you wish to do with Saquon Barkley's free agency. I just don't want to see him walk to Philadelphia." And he walks to Philadelphia, and he scores 3 touchdowns in the opener.
3.
And you then perform like this in week 1. What do you say to John Mara when you see him in the hallway? Like, what
try to avoid him.
What do you pretend to be on the phone?
And I said, is there any similarity to a moment like that? I know, again, she was a team president and a Hall of Fame version of that, as a matter of fact, I should say. She didn't shop the groceries for the Raiders. I'm like, is there any similarity to a situation like that for Al Davis? and she said she will address the subject matter this week.
Oh,
Jim Nance is the guest, so I will just throw that out there as a say. I'll call this an overreaction. It's just 1 week.
I think you work from home if that's the case. You don't want to see him.
But what do you do? Like, this was that's why I said Giants fans need a hug.
big time.
What else, Chris?
Guys, I think I got COVID.
Yes.
Chris Long yesterday called this player cooked. And we talked to
Not
Mark
Brandon.
Cecil.
Not Brandon.
Not Brandon.
Not the Archer who scored a touchdown.
Not Brandon. We talked to Mark Cecil earlier. He called it an apocalypse. The Browns need to move on ASAP from Deshaun Watson.
They got to give him at least another day or two on a Sunday.
You mean game or two?
Game or two. A game or two. Yeah, that's what I should say. Day or two.
We're getting close to crab legs in the clubhouse and
dude,
W's.
You owe him $92 million after this year. Again, the Broncos showed you that teams can take a dead cap hit of $80 million, right, and spread it out over 2 years and get a rookie quarterback and try and win games. We'll see how that plan plays out over the next 2 years, because that's a large chunk. That's a nice chunk of the pie, right? out of the salary cap.
Yeah, for sure.
So we'll see how the Broncos fare. I don't know, because the Browns are slated to win right now, though. Like right now. They're supposed to win right now. They're built to win right now. And so I understand that you could say, then let's try and win it right now with Jameis Winston.
Yeah.
I'm not willing to say that they're going to do that just yet. We'll see how he looks in Jacksonville. You know, if Sam Darnold went 19-24 against the Giants defense, that's your bar that you got to leap past, or at least match in week 3.
You would think
Vegas.
You would think
It's
weeks
not easy,
3,
by the way.
4, 5. Those are winnable games that they should win.
By the way, Vegas, the way that the Chargers beat Vegas wasn't by outpassing them.
No, they pounded.
It was a physical game, and that physical game that the Browns, you would think, could win. Boy, did they lose it this Sunday. I mean, the Cowboys out-physicaled them too,
Yeah, big time.
which I know is not really an English word, out-physicaled, but
It is now.
it's a sports word. So I'll just push back on this as an overreaction. Doing it after week 1, like right now, like, hey, Deshaun, you're benched.
Like Chris
it's
Long said
Jameis
yesterday,
Winston in Jacksonville.
You
Come on.
saw this train coming.
I know.
Pull the ripcord.
I don't. I think it's still too early.
Okay.
Chris,
All right. Okay.
Okay,
you
Jim.
got one
All
more?
right, last one.
Okay, Jim.
Last one, and this is mostly for Mike Hoskins in the back.
Hold on, man. I think Mike wants to play the drop in the worst way. You got it?
Do you think we need one more? All right, we'll get one more.
All right, Chris. What else you got?
Thank you. Josh Allen and the Bills, they proved the road to the AFC title still goes through Buffalo.
I don't know if they proved it, but I think what they definitely proved is anybody that thinks that they're going to have a demise that's greatly exaggerated.
Josh Allen, your week 1 MVP, right?
He's up there.
He did something only Steve Young has done.
I know that.
Oh, 2 rushing and 2 passing touchdowns in the same game.
I'm aware of that.
Okay. I was just explaining for the
Yeah,
audience. who maybe
I'm
didn't know
aware of that.
stat.
I'm aware of that. So yeah, I got you.
Short
And he's
week,
very
though.
impressive.
Shorter week this week in Miami.
Very impressive. So I think this is still premature that the road to the AFC still goes through Buffalo. Can I put a pin in it? Keep my or move the chess piece. Keep my finger on it,
just keep
and
the-
let's revisit
right
this
on the
Friday.
right on
Can we
the point.
revisit this
revisit on
Friday?
Friday?
Yeah.
Sure.
Let's just
Miami
see.
didn't really impress me last week, but
Dude, you can't discount the way that the manner in which they walked into the locker room that day. You just can't.
That's
You
true.
cannot discount
That's true.
that. Did you hear what happened to Tyreek?
yeah, you're right.
And what's going on and how the hell did that play? Did you hear what happened with Calais and John?
Yeah, I meant on the field, but yeah,
I
yeah,
understand that,
you're
but
right.
the fact, like you can't. They're not robots.
True.
So I'll just keep my finger on the piece and say, ask me Friday.
I will.
You know, it just reminds me of the time when I used to cover baseball at ESPN, and whenever I cover a game, I did a few Cardinals games, and I asked Tony La Russa, "Hey Tony, how are you?" And he says, "Ask me after 9 innings."
I can feel it.
Ask me after 9 innings.
That's what he said. I never really had the pushback to say to him, "What if we go to extras?"